Hey, everybody, and welcome to the next recap and review with your faves reality unloaded. This is your girl Keeks,
I'm Lina.
And I'm Brandon.
and again, welcome to the next review and recap of the Challenge 40, episode 5, an era tradition. And so much happened. Yeah, I guess that break last week was needed because with what happened this episode, wow, we have a
She was
lot to
juicy.
discuss. It was a lot that happened. There was a lot of gameplay going on. There were a lot of arguments, disagreements, deals being made. There's a lot of things that the challengers have been saying online as per usual every episode. I feel like there's like more challengers coming out to say things every episode. Um but yes, there is just a lot that happened. What's up, Brandon? Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey,
Hopefully, we
Brandon.
didn't keep you waiting for too long. But first and foremost, let me check in with my host over here, the host with the most, Lina, Brandon. How are y'all feeling? How did y'all feel with that break that we had? Did y'all watch the VMAs? Did anybody watch the VMAs?
We
Oh, we watched
watched.
the VMAs.
Not many highlights, but we
um,
watched.
yeah, I have to say, not many
It
highlights,
was
but
good.
this episode was definitely super juicy. I have to say, I'm very thankful for social media because they really fill in all of the challenge cast fills in a lot of the blanks because we'll get into the argument moment between Cara and Laurel, but I was so disappointed based on just what I watched. So I'm very happy that we kind of got in all of the missing pieces that production cut out.
Yeah, I will say I wanted the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So I'm very happy that we're getting the truth from the cast.
That's a
Hi,
fact.
Crystal.
Hey, Crystal, what's up? Thank you for joining us as always. But yeah, like without further ado, since so much happened, let's get right into it. So we get to the first half of the episode, and CT says he nominated himself because they are losing dailies. Era one. What's happening? But they're doing well in the eliminations. Then we see Olivia tells Josh, or pretty much in front of the rest of Era 4, that she feels blindsided by him because he didn't step up to be the target of the week like he said he would. And pretty much Josh admits, like, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I saw CT step up and I said, oh, I'm not trying to go through that again. He got deja vu real quick, which
He got scared.
I understand. He got scared. He said, "Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I was a little bit of a bitch in that moment, but y'all have every right to be upset with me." And I will say, kudos to you, Josh, for just owning that up.
Owning your
But
shit. Yeah.
just own it. This is we like to see you owning shit up, even though there's certain things that we will discuss a little bit later. Where I'm like, okay, what have you done really? But
He did
um,
also, just
yes.
to add a little, he did mention that I guess rumors were going around that he was going to step up, and that's why CT stepped up or something. So I mean, I don't know how true that is, but those are the words of Josh.
Sounds like an excuse, but sure.
Yeah, and pretty much at the end of the day, it's an excuse. And for those that know, excuses are the tools of the incompetent. Da, 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 da. So clearly, he
That
wasn't competent
part.
enough to go up against CT or willing to do so because he knew at the end of the day, CT took him out before. He doesn't want to face that again. And then I don't blame like the group era for obviously like getting at Josh for that. I think the person that should have been the most upset with Josh is Kylan, considering they're both from BB. They run in similar groups. And Kylan was already the target previously. So I understood him being the most upset out of everybody from that era. Now, we get to Emily saying that it feels like the right time for her to step up for her era and take power into her own hands. How did y'all feel about Emily coming to terms with like, yeah, this is the moment I have to do this because it feels like she also expressed online or even later on in that that she kind of knew she was gonna be the target anyway.
I mean, I feel like whenever we see someone say like it feels like my time to step up, they either kill it in the challenge or they fail
Yeah.
and they go into elimination. So I was like, is this Emily's time? I don't know. But we also still have Aviv. Why does she have to be the next one up? And why is Aviv getting
Okay,
away with all these passes?
can we talk about this? Aviv, I completely forgot. I completely forgot that Aviv was on. Josh is
Yup.
1-7. The moment he hits the sand, he's gone. Yes, exactly. Dabu, Dabu. Yeah, I just feel like, what are we talking out here? Talking about here, like we all know Josh was not going. I mean, maybe he could have beat CT with that elimination. Who knows? We'll talk about that too later on. But yeah, I mean, what the heck, Aviv? You're just like skating on by. I forgot
Waiting.
that she
Well,
was on the season.
Aviv did go down. Remember when Darrell was in the chambers because he had said he would prefer to go against Aviv? You remember that?
But she never went down in the
She
sand.
never
No, she
went
never
down in the
actually made
sand.
it into the
Yeah,
sand. Correct.
yeah, and that was what, first episode or something, like second episode, third. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I just feel like she, for somebody that has made a comeback or whatever, like I'm just not seeing much of her, and I'm interested in her gameplay because why are you so protected at this point?
Yeah.
Right.
I think Josh thinks he's some legendary figure in his mind. CT did not need a rumor to step up. Exactly. Like, come on
Fair.
now. But hey, we're gonna let Josh feed into his delusions because it's okay. Sometimes we're delusional ourselves. And speaking of a delusional couple who thinks that we want to see more of them, it's Devin and Michelle. They're
Oh my
called
god.
and I was like, okay. Like, I'm sorry, I never want to be like, oh my god, I need to see more of Devin and Michelle. Like, I'm sorry, that didn't
Really?
come out.
I mean,
just-
what was the most interesting about this though? Sorry, what was the most interesting about this though, in my opinion, was that Michelle literally named the Vacation Alliance. And she was shedding light to it to the viewers because I don't think up until this point they've said the Vacation Alliance. They've just said,
They
"Oh, I'm
haven't.
aligned with these people." So
Hold on. Let's emphasize Brandon's comment. Nobody cares. Correct. Nobody cares about Michelle. Nobody cares about Devin. Keep your relationship to another show because I can't.
Right.
I just
They're
can't.
not even like like there's some couples that you're like, dang, I wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall for that. I know that's a little freaky.
Right.
I know that's a little freaky, y'all. Like, relax. Don't come at me
Who cares?
crazy.
Who
But
cares?
that's not a couple I want to know anything.
I mean, if
But
they're
I will.
happy, they're happy. Like
They're happy. Let them
Oh
be
my
happy.
god, Brandon.
I could come across as the bitter bitch out of the group, but like, listen, I'm sorry. I don't want to
Sorry,
see
give
none of
me
that.
the
I
But
ain't got
title.
no problem.
Give me the title. I'm the bitter bitch. I don't want to see it. Like, period.
But I will say I did think it was funny because there was like a moment where Derek Chavez, he's like crossing them while they're like about to kiss or something like that, and he's like, and I was just like, what the hell is wrong with Derek? So funny. But yes, that is when we start talking about the Vacation Alliance, and she brings up like the Vacation Alliance. And I said, oh, okay, you want to be a part of that so bad, Michelle. We know you and Olivia, y'all are like the Vacation Alliance rotated members pretty much at this point. But then
they get callbacks, so
they do, and again, they also get to play in the game longer because they're cool with the Vacation Alliance. But anyway, so we see Nehemiah tries to make a deal with Devin, which includes obviously the other targets, their respective fellow targets, Emily and Tori. But again, this is just Devin and Nehemiah having this conversation. And Devin then tries to make a deal, or Nehemiah then tries to make a deal with Devin, saying that, like, you know, at the end of the day, we need to protect ourselves. Like, they're gonna be working with each other, etc. Like Era 4 is obviously dominating. They're doing well performance wise, etc. So let's try to work something out. Devin ultimately says like he doesn't want to do anything because he doesn't know Nehemiah that well. And he also wants to make sure that Tori, as his respective like friend and fellow target for their era, is also aware of this deal and is also in agreement. How did y'all feel about Nehemiah trying to cut this deal and just this conversation overall?
I mean, I will say I do think it was smart of Nehemiah to try to make some kind of deal with either someone from Era 3 or Era 4. Do I think Devin was the best choice? Not necessarily, because he's kind of messy. So, but I will say didn't hear a yes or a no during that conversation. I know Devin said it in
Yeah.
his confessional, so I don't think it was made exactly clear what that conversation might lead to. So I could get where the
Mm-hmm.
confusion later on kind of came from. But go ahead,
I feel
Lina.
like it was more of like a we'll circle back on this. Like I want to talk about it with Tori first, and then I'll come back to you about it for sure.
Right.
Yeah, Nehemiah never struck me as a very strategic player. But then when they also went ahead and showed that he was consulting with Corey, who's even less strategic in my opinion, I was just like, this is just not going to end well. Like I like saw that this was not going to end well for either of them. And yeah, I mean, Devin is not one to be trusted, to be honest. He actually would have been better off trying to make a deal with Era 4, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not sure like so and again, I do agree with you, Brandon. I do feel like it was good for Nehemiah to at least try to get with one of the Vacation Alliance members because he knows they're so powerful, or like obviously they have numbers on their side. So I do understand that, and I will respect him for even attempting to do that. Um, but yeah, I think because of the fact that like Devin never gave him the official okay or agreed to it. Maybe like him bringing it up later on in the chamber was a little bit, it backfired essentially on him. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But again, I do not blame Nehemiah for trying to play the game. And I feel like this is also honestly, Nehemiah, like you should get your flowers by the end of this episode. I feel like you and Tina, this whole thing is like getting overshadowed by Laurel and Carl's drama, but you were doing what you needed to do at the end of the day, so I'll respect it. So then
Exactly.
moving on from one Vacation Alliance member to the rest of the group, we see the Vacation Alliance has a team meeting in their little room and they're saying we are obsessed. Well, no, the couch says that we're obsessed with a Vacation Alliance. And I'm like, no. Y'all are obsessed with yourselves. And that they aren't even a real alliance. Well, according to Josh, they're not a real alliance. But Tori admits to it. And I said, okay, thank you, Tori. I'm gonna give you your twos. I'm gonna give you your twos for admitting that. But they talk about how like, oh, clearly that's just like a rumor made up, and it's like it's not a rumor.
They were like,
Everybody
"Oh,
knows.
we just happen to just go on vacations with each other, and that's it." But it's just funny because y'all all end up working with each other after your vacation. So
Right.
make it make sense.
And for those that do not know, the Vacation Alliance consists of Josh, Tori, Casey, Devin, Nani, Anissa, sometimes Fessel, face out of Fessy, Messy Fessy. And clearly interchangeably, it's gonna be Michelle and Olivia with this group because they love the Vacation Alliance. And who else? I guess like Bananas and
And
Jordan
they
are
protect Jordan
Vacation.
as well.
Yeah, the Vacation
Hmm.
Alliance adjacent. Um, what's the point of being BFF with Wes if you don't learn strategy? I mean, I think he did. He tried something. We've seen Wes try multiple times to cut deals and they don't work out. So I feel like he kind of did a similar thing to Nehemiah. Or I mean, Nehemiah did something similar to Wes. But I get it. It didn't work in his favor. But back to the Vacation Alliance. Shout out to Gamer Vev because Gamer Vev is the reason why the Vacation Alliance even has a name to begin with. So shout out to the Vacation Alliance name. The fact that pretty much Twitter fans or challenge fans were able to get that on the screen is really funny. But of course, multiple people in the house peep that. John A peeps it. Derek Chavez says, like, listen, they want to act like it's not a thing. It's a thing.
Well,
Like,
Tori said it was a thing. Like, Tori
right.
admits to it. Like, thank you for actually admitting to it, because we're not stupid. Like, we know it's a thing. We
Yeah.
see the trends. We see, like, it's true. You are bullied to either follow in line or you're out. And yes,
Right.
AR, thank you for adding Casey. We have Nani in there. Keeks mentioned it. Michelle, Olivia.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is a real thing. Yes. Josh is trying to downplay it. Tori admitted it. They have proxies like Bananas, Jordan, Michelle, Olivia. Yes, proxies is the great word. But anyway, so I mean, like, the Vacation Alliance got their little cute little segment or whatever. But and I also love the tweets that they put up in when they edited the episode, the tweets of all the fans talking shit about the Vacation Alliance.
Yeah.
Real. I'm one of those people for sure. If you check my Twitter. But anyway, so moving on from the Vacation Alliance, we're going into the daily challenge. And
Wait,
Brandon, take it away
sorry.
with the daily challenge.
Before we get into the daily challenge, I need to address a comment from my girl. Yes, we are taking a moment for Horacio. I do not believe he has a retired girlfriend. We will see him in the future. I promise you that. I'm calling his
Oh my,
agents. We'll make it happen.
wait. Can we talk about that since we're bringing up Horacio? Because I know, so, did everybody catch the fact that like production let them see the uncut footage of the elimination, and ultimately Derek was the one that won the
I did
elimination?
see that.
According to Derek and Horacio, Derek did win it fair and square. So very
Unless they
interesting.
paid him out to keep his mouth shut.
Who
That could also
knows?
be a thing.
I don't think Best was the
I
last
do
of
not see
worthy of
Horacio taking a
Horacio.
payday like that. But I don't know.
AR Keeks, don't get me started. I'm sorry, sis. I'm sorry. I just want to say, like, apparently he lost. So, but I do understand, like, Horacio, listen, you were a great competitor. I'm sure you.
Oh, he is a great competitor
We
for
lost Keith.
sure. I know. We definitely he is a great competitor. I think we will see him in the future eventually. I do not think this is the end of Horacio. Josh can't sniff a final. Anissa, Nani, Fessy flop every final. Kate, you are going in, yes, with all of it. Correct. Yes, this Vacation Alliance, they are what they are. Brandon, do you want to take it away with the daily challenge? Hey,
Yes, absolutely.
Hey,
We got Keeks back. But getting into the
sorry.
daily challenge, it's called Fast Pass. And the rules for this daily challenge is that each era has to pick up a giant Y-shaped beam. And then from there, they have to navigate through these trees to get to a station with sandbags. Once they're at the sandbag station, they have to grab 4 at a time. There's 8 in total. They have to bring it back to the station where they grab the Y-shaped beam. Then they have to repeat this once again. And then once they bring the sandbags, all total 8 of them, back to the station, they then have to find a way to balance them on opposite ends of a balancing beam. The thing that's difficult about this is that all of the bags weigh different weights, basically. And then TJ lets us know the first team that makes it even wins. So how did you guys feel about this challenge in general? I thought it was pretty okay. I saw a lot of teamwork aspects overall, but it wasn't anything crazy for me.
I felt like it was really hard to follow this this daily challenge, especially because it kept on jumping from one group to the next. So like even at one point when like Era 4 was taking the lead, I had no idea when that happened. And I kind of don't like when dailies are like that. Like I think it would have been better if each team got their opportunity, or it was 1 versus 1 where they went in like 2 different heats. I think I would have preferred that. But I mean, again, communication was key. We saw that Era 1 completely flopped, but
I was
They
dying with
had a
Tina.
they
What
had
was
a
it? She was
day.
like bob and weave. She's like bob and weave.
no,
Yeah, they
Tina
She
like
were.
was going in.
Tina was like,
I
"Are
think
y'all
she's.
not listening?"
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. It was that
I
comment.
was like, Tina was like, "Are y'all not listening to me because I'm a woman?" I was like, "Tina, girl, speak your piece." Yes.
She was killing me. Like her and CT going at it, and then like they're just so funny. Yeah, I agree with you, Lina, with your sentiments. I felt like a lot was going on, but nothing really at the same
At the
time. I
same
don't know.
time, yeah.
It was like I didn't really like this daily challenge, to be quite honest. I was pretty like, okay. I don't know. I just felt like they could have done something a lot better than that.
It
But
gave
hey,
like Big Brother, kind of.
I guess like did it? I don't know. I don't know what it
It
gave. It
gave
just
low
wasn't given.
budget.
Period.
It gave low budget. That's what it gave me because it was not doing anything.
You know what you know that they stick to these low budget little dailies and stuff like that because they got so many people on with higher pays, etc. So well, according to Emily, not everybody gets paid generously, so which we figured. But yeah.
I mean, speaking of someone who definitely gets paid a lot more than some of these people is Jordan. He the whole entire time was yelling at his team per usual. But I'm sorry, if I was on his team, you're not gonna be yelling at me like that. He like needs to be told something because there's a way to like work your team up to like get them to the finish line, but he just no, not for me.
I would have put it down and refused to pick it up with the way he taught. I was actually surprised Naya took it because he was yelling at Naya at one point, and I was just like you saw her rolling her eyes, and I was like, no, I would have not picked it up. I would have. Y'all are gonna lose.
Right.
Yeah, he's I don't know. I just be feeling like, oh, and that's another one like we barely seen, but you know, I don't know. I just feel like why didn't y'all throw his ass in there? I just feel like y'all are protecting Jordan. Like, yes, of course. Like Jordan is a
For
great
him
person to have
to
on your
just beat you in the end. Like he does
literally.
this all the
Get him
time.
out. Get him the fuck out.
Yeah.
But also Dabu, you also said if that's the case, why was Narice going crazy last week? I assume Horacio gave her the tea that it was BS. Could be. I honestly I didn't notice that Narice was still going off, but I'm not surprised by that. But I'm gonna check that out. So maybe that is the case. I totally understand if he doesn't believe production and what they do because they're very capable of just lying. But yes, it's just hey, Jordan is gonna Jordan, point blank period. I just feel like it's dull. Like it wasn't there was nothing motivated. It's not anything new from Jordan. It's not anything different. He's always gonna be like that. Oh, how could we ever forget AR? How could we forget how he treated most of his female counterparts or his partners or team members? He's always been like that. But yeah, so you could go ahead and continue, Brendan.
All right. And then another thing that we saw was another CT pro tip. I need them to stop with these CT pro tips because it was cute in the beginning. And I think we mentioned this in every episode so far that we've done. It's just getting dragged out.
Well,
So when I saw it
it's not
again,
gonna
I was
get
like,
dragged out
oh my
anymore.
God, that is
R.I.P.
true. We'll get to that. But Era 4, during this whole chaotic mess that Era 1 was putting us through, was surprisingly communicating really, really well. And then we saw Era 2 kind of in their shadows right behind them, trying to keep up with them. But eventually, Era 4 gets to their station first. and then Era 2 is right behind them. It's pretty much neck and neck. And I think Era 4 lets Kylan, and I forgot who the other person was, but at the weighing station, you needed two people from your team to be the weighers. But Kylan basically took over, took control of it, and they got it fairly quickly. So they end up winning, and Era 2 comes in second, followed by Era 3 in third, and Era 4 or Era 1 is in fourth place because they just did not do good at all.
Wait, but
But
let's talk about Era 2 though real quick, because we didn't talk about Era 2 struggling to
mhm,
carry that beam, but then Laurel deciding not to help because she ultimately wants Emily to go into the elimination sandwich.
exactly.
And honestly, Era 2, like, they haven't really lost as many people as Era 1, and they're fairly strong competitors. So the fact that they were struggling as much as they were struggling, I feel like there was more than just Laurel that wasn't really putting in the weight to help carry that beam. Just speculating.
Maybe a banana.
Bananas.
Yeah, a rotten banana, maybe.
I mean, because at
I
this
would,
point he's become Laurel's pet and is doing whatever she
yeah.
wants him to do, or
Apparently
he
her
wants
He's
her
lawyer
to.
like,
and attorney too, because he defends her to no end.
oh my gosh, like he is literally defending her down. So yeah, I mean, I was not surprised by Laurel doing that, but it's just interesting how Laurel decides. It's just interesting that Laurel does this thing. She's known for throwing dailies and challenges to get people into the elimination that she wants out of the game. But it's just funny how like she does this and she still expects people to have her back or protect her. So I don't understand. And Crystal, it's not making sense to me getting rid of people that help them win challenges so early, because the point is to continue winning as a team than full chaos when it's down to individual. Absolutely. And I do get that
Exactly.
too. I feel like now's the time for you to be a team player, even though like if I had the chance to get Jordan out, I would try to get Jordan out. But yes, it just increases her chances of being the target. Absolutely. So
And
whatever
her
it is,
behavior
what
is going to her behavior is going to continue to make her a target over and over and over again.
oh yeah,
My
she's
thing
pissed
is,
off a lot.
she wants to be like this alpha female competitor so bad, but when it comes down to it, she is intimidated by the other alpha females. Like she doesn't want to go
Yeah.
against them in a final. She wants to go against
She
the
wants an easy
easy
win.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
She
that to
wants
me
an
is not a
easy
true
win.
competitor. Yeah,
And and the saddest part is Laurel developed her reputation by beating some of the best. So the fact that she's now just wants like an easy way to the final, doesn't want to go against anybody, really is sabotaging the good players. It's just destroying your own reputation for how great you used to be. But yeah,
it's not a good look.
our viewers don't see me to be a fan of Survivor, I see.
I
I'm
guess
upset
so.
Oh,
I
because
don't.
actually,
I
it
don't know.
I am a
it
Survivor
does feel like
fan.
Survivor.
It does feel like
It does
Survivor.
feel like
Actually,
Survivor.
nah, I'm not gonna lie. After watching a few clips and episodes, it does feel like that. But yeah, so we see all of that play out, and then I do want to also point out when CT and Tina, they're like pissed off at each other after losing, and they're cursing each other out, and her and CT are yelling at each other, and then they both say sorry to each other like in the next breath, and I'm like, yeah, very
Era one
very era
energy.
one. Era
Yeah.
one energy. Like, I'm so pissed at you, but I fucking love you. I
Yeah.
love you. I'm gonna
Very
support
much.
you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for yelling at you.
Me and
Yeah, I'm
Brandon.
sorry for yelling at you too. Yeah, definitely.
No, literally.
Um
Yeah. No, we'll
I
curse
did
each
think
other
that was
out and then
funny.
be like, "You good? Yeah, I'm good. You want a glass of wine? All right."
Yeah, exactly. So era 4 comes in, I mean era 1 comes in dead last. They're automatically going into elimination. And then we get to the second half of the episode. They're back at the house. CT and Tina, they're having like their little bonding moment, trying to prepare themselves to go into elimination. They're wondering who they're gonna go up against, and they're pretty much like, literally, it doesn't matter. We don't care. Hopefully, it's not us, but let's just be prepared for it. And I feel like that's the best mindset to have when it comes to the challenge. Anyway, like at the end of the
It's
day,
the
it
it's the era one mindset, to be honest.
right.
These people don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm just lucky to be here at my big age. Like, let me just show up and show out.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them.
Mm-hmm. I was cracking up though. I was just like, that's how y'all should be. Laura is on a power trip. She is channeling her inner Regina George. Definitely that.
Yes,
Um
with
She
all the
wishes.
references.
She
yes, come
wishes.
on. Yeah, she wishes. Like, come on. But we see Corey then talking to Nehemiah and now says that Tori Devin Jordan's relationship is sketchy. And it's like, oh, you just noticed, Corey? Thank you for waking up and joining the challenge.
I mean, didn't Amanda tell you that from the very beginning? And you were basically shutting her down for it? Another make it make sense moment. But continue.
The math ain't mathing with that one.
It never
But
maths, girl. It's
right,
never
right,
math.
right.
And like,
But then this is another thing, right? Like, because we Corey did talk about this briefly on a live, I think with Nelson or something like that, that he had some sort of alliance already formed with Nehemiah, Naya, a few others. Maybe I can't remember exactly who. So I'm like, I'm curious as to why Corey and Nehemiah didn't try just like building something with Era 4 if they knew
that's what
that
I'm saying.
or like pull yourself into Era 2. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like they didn't
Yeah.
leverage their numbers or their connections as well as they could have,
I
especially
think
Corey that is pretty much on an
it's just
island.
I think it's literally because, well, Naya, Jordan,
Right,
protected
right,
by
right.
him at the end of the day. I think Corey is doing what he did in the Challenge USA 2, was it?
Yes,
Where he
yes.
is just sticking by everything that the Vacation Alliance says. And he really thinks he's like a part of this adjacent Vacation Alliance. But at the end of the day, he's disposable to them.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
he
he
thinks he's
thinks that.
adjacent. Yeah.
I don't think he thinks he's a part of it at all. I just think he's
Then
not
why does he
being
keep
strategic
following them
enough.
every time?
I think that he thinks if he just like sidelines with them, he'll get far enough in the game.
Enough,
I really think
yeah,
that's what he thinks. But he
yeah.
doesn't realize that he'll never get to the end if he keeps sidelining with them. Like he has to create his own alliance to target the Vacation Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
we see it all the time in seasons where we have more rookies than we have vets. If the rookies would just come together, they can literally knock off the vets one by one, but they never do it. And Corey is a prime
Mm-hmm.
example of never puts his brain cells together to figure out a strategy to the end.
Oh, Corey, you got to do more puzzles with your kids. All right, so and then we get into the deliberation. Lina, do you want to spearhead the deliberations moment?
Yeah, sure. So really the deliberation focuses on, we saw that CT and Tina really didn't want to say anything, but everyone was intrigued about this conversation between Nehemiah and Devin. It really all starts with Nehemiah calling out the Vacation Alliance, and really talking about Devin and Tori. And that's where really Devin reveals that Nehemiah approached him about the deal. It's funny because you kind of see Nehemiah trying to come out of it and saying like there was no deal. He's like shushing Devin, saying that nothing was decided. They start arguing, and he really was not having it. Like, how did you guys
He,
even feel about his reaction?
it was warranted because Devin was doing the most. He pulled it out of his pocket to keep him safe and like throw it in Nehemiah's face, like, "Hey, look over here, it's him." Devin literally knew what he was doing, and this is the problem with Devin is that he's just a snake. I mean, good for him on his end to like pull himself out of the situation. But like, I don't know. It was very condescending, and everything that Nehemiah was doing, I'm surprised he didn't get up and punch him in the face. To be honest,
I was living. I was living. Honestly, when Nehemiah said, shh, shh,
Shh. Not even
I
like
said, now you
quietly, but hard, like a really rough
no,
shush.
not the library. Shh, like shush before I whoop that ass. And I lived for it. I lived for it because honestly,
and
like,
you know he would. You know he would.
yes, absolutely. But I just thought it was a funny moment because I was like, not this grown ass man shushing this other grown ass man. But I do think that ultimately it blew up in Nehemiah's face, right? Because now everybody's looking at Nehemiah sideways. You have Kylan even saying like, Nehemiah, come on, like I was really like trying to work with you. Also, like everybody's going to Kylan to cut these deals for Era 4. Like, okay. So I was just like, okay. And he's like, Nehemiah looks shady now because he knows about what was proposed. And it's like, okay, if Devin hadn't accepted it or had I not accepted it, like, would you have just went back around to Devin and try to do this all over again, And then Olivia says that she feels like Tori and Devin are being real in this deliberation moment. And I said, oh my God,
crazy.
Please get your lips
She's going
off
on the
of
next
their
vacation.
asses. She wants to go on an all-inclusive vacation with a Vacation Alliance, y'all. Like, I don't know what's going on with Olivia, but them filler lips are attached to the Vacation Alliance's asses. Like, it is too much. I'm sorry.
Bring me back the rookie season Olivia. What was it? Ride or Die? Bring me that Olivia. Because this Olivia is not it for me, personally. She was one of my favorites. And then it slowly went downhill from there.
Yeah. It's been downhill. For real. But yeah, so then we get to the later part of the episode. They're back from the deliberation pretty much. And it really feels like before that, Tina and CT, they're living. Like they're going through this deliberation unscathed. They're just like, yeah, I guess we gonna get what we want at the end of the day. Like we good, we chilling. But which I thought was really interesting that they just really just sat there like, hey, okay, whatever. So then we come back out of the deliberation. We see that Rachel says she does not like Era 3 at all. And she knows Tina's all about transparency. So she knows that she'll pretty much be honest about who she wants in the deliberation. But she also in this moment says like she is not a fan of Devin at all. I think she calls him like strange or weird or something like that. So Rachel, you are real.
Yeah. She said he's a weird player. She said Devin is a weird player.
Yeah, and she said this to who? Who was it that she was saying that to?
I think Emily.
Was it?
I think it was Emily.
Yeah, I think it was Emily.
Probably.
Yeah, but anyway. So yeah, then Michelle says she doesn't. So then we get to this conversation, right, between Michelle and Laurel. And right before this, I don't know if everybody caught this moment. Was there a moment? Am I imagining this? Please, like, just clarify. Did Laurel hug Michelle thinking that she was Avery?
She threw something in her lap thinking she was Avery.
Oh.
She like threw something in her lap to like give her, and then she's like, "Oh, I thought you were Avery," and she took it back.
Wait, did I miss this? When was this?
It was like when early in the episode.
It's actually right before the conversation between Laurel and
Michelle. Yes, yeah, it was because I don't know why I guess like I caught it at like a weird time, and I thought that Laurel had like hugged her from behind or something like that, and she was like, "Oh, I thought you were Avery," and it was like weird because Michelle wasn't the only person in the room, so they also saw that weird exchange between them. But obviously that leads to this conversation where Michelle says she doesn't understand Laurel, and pretty much Laurel pretty much gives her a cold shoulder. She tries to raise her concerns, and all these things. And like Michelle obviously is pretty much saying like, you're not gonna make me feel like there isn't any sort of negative tension or energy between us, because there is. Like, you're pretty much trying to gaslight me into thinking this is one-sided. And Laurel's like, but it is. And I'm not gonna lie, like, to me, like, I laughed in that moment because I also feel like Michelle feels like she needs to be friends with everybody, and it's okay for somebody to not like you. Like, it's okay for somebody to not
Mm-hmm.
vibe with you, mesh with you, and clearly you and Laurel have never been that. So I just feel like Michelle always wants to try to bridge that gap, and sometimes like it doesn't have to be done. Like, you just don't have to be friends with her. Like, y'all can be cordial and keep it moving. How did y'all feel
Yeah,
about that conversation though?
I think that, so I agree with you in terms of like, you don't have to vibe with everyone. You don't have to be friends with everybody. But, from things I saw on social media, like even the video that Cara Maria posted, she mentioned that like Laurel, what she'll do, especially for people who are more sensitive or who are people pleasers, she'll like drop these breadcrumbs, is what she said, almost to like kind of create this bridge like, hey, actually we can be friends, and then she kind of tears you down. And to me, that's such a manipulative narcissist behavior that like I understand why Michelle possibly keeps falling into that trap. If someone is extending a hand out and you try to reach for it and then they kind of just let you fall, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think even in Kara's video from earlier, she did say that her and Tina were in the room having a conversation, and Tina brought up the fact that she was like, you know what, Cara? I think like Laurel sees a lot of what she saw in you in Michelle when you were younger. And I guess that kind of clicked with Cara, and she was like, you know what? That makes sense. That's probably why they're always bickering, and she like talks down on her sometimes. So that's why Cara ends up going into the room, because she was seeing the conversation unfold. And she ended up basically saying after that whole conversation, like, you know what, Michelle, I'll be your friend. And that just irks Laurel's soul to the point where you see her blood boiling.
And you know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, also, like, again, like people say that we don't see, when we see the interaction between Michelle and Laurel, we don't see like how it starts. Like, it seems almost from the viewer's point of view, it seems that Michelle is the one who's trying to initiate the conversation with Laurel. When again, a few challengers said that it was really as Michelle was walking through the room, Laurel was the one who made the comment saying, like, Michelle, we will never be friends. So it's like she keeps putting her on this. It's like a little fish that keeps catching the reel, right? Like that's what Laurel keeps
Mm-hmm.
doing. She keeps catch and release, catch and release, catch and release. Um,
She
yeah.
likes
Yeah,
having
and then
people wrapped around her finger,
She
basically,
likes feeling the control of someone, She loves somebody like chasing after her.
which is weird as a friend. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
and apparently again, like production apparently edited out scenes of Tina telling Cara that her whole moment, right? Of like Laurel treating Michelle like she used to treat Cara, and that Laurel started the argument with Michelle. Michelle was hysterically crying about it, and like that led to this whole conversation. Again, a lot of things have been edited out, so it's kind of hard to put things together, but let's just go along with what we see so far right now. So then we see Cara jump into the conversation because again, like Cara was consoling Michelle, it seems. And then she jumps in and she says like she'll be Michelle's friend because it reminds her obviously of how Laurel used to treat her, and it's just toxic. Laurel clearly is upset. She's like, listen, like, don't jump into it. This has nothing to do with you, whatever. And, for the viewers, the casual viewers at home, like, if you're not looking or staying up to speed with the social media, it does look like Cara just happened to be strolling by and see them have a conversation and insert herself. So it does give off that impression as well. And then we see Cara talking to Emily about the whole Laurel situation and tells her that she sees the way that she feels about Emily and that clearly Laurel is insecure. Ultimately she sees Emily as competition. And then Laurel, what was it that happened after this conversation? Laurel asked like Cara, is she
She
okay
was like,
because she has an
are
attitude?
you okay? Because you've been acting weird, like, I don't, or having an attitude with her or something like that." And then she
Yeah.
says, Cara to Laurel says, "Well, really, Laurel, you're the only one that I have a problem with." Because Cara basically brings up the fact that she's been hating on Emily and that she was lashing out on Darrell in the last episode. And she was like, maybe the problem is you, Laurel, because overall, she just doesn't like the way she's been treating people in the house, especially after the Michelle situation. She's just over it. And she calls her out on it. And then Laurel essentially goes ahead and calls Cara very unself-aware and is calling her all types of names in the book, like telling her to sit the F down, you be like not nice at all.
Wait, okay. And like
Do,
I'm before we move further, this whole pointing the finger thing,
Oh my
like you're
God.
pointing, there's three fingers pointing back at you. No, I'm not pointing the finger at you. You literally just did. I was dying because I was like,
It was,
Laurel, do you see yourself? Like, do you see yourself? Like,
it's like
please,
talking
like y'all.
to a teenager that is so stuck in their ways and that doesn't see like what they're doing sometimes can rub people the wrong way, and it's just wrong. Like,
yeah.
I
And
don't know,
Yes,
because
honestly,
Cara wasn't even calling her names that she was calling her. Like,
yeah.
she
And
was
our,
being
listen,
nasty.
our viewers definitely agree. Like they're saying it's a game for Laurel. We definitely agree. Laurel telling Cara to stop yelling was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Absolutely. Laurel was the one who was yelling. Cara inserting herself. I don't blame her. Yeah, she's sick of living with Laurel. Laurel's crazy. They shouldn't do a season together. Thank you guys for all of these comments. We completely agree with you. Yeah. Everyone's
yeah.
pointing the finger.
Yeah, the pointing the finger thing, I was just like, oh my God, you look crazy. Like, please. It's just ridiculous at this point. Like, how are you not realizing it? Cara cracked me up, like getting on her tippy toes to like reach Laurel's chin while she's having this argument. Honestly, if I was Cara, I would have gotten eliminated out the house, guys. Like,
Same,
and violence
same.
is not the answer, but you're not about to yell at me
Literally.
in some type of tone. Like,
Nope.
I will, yeah,
Listen,
no,
one thing,
we
And
scrap it.
she was like towering over her. Like, you
exactly. I
don't.
was just gonna say that. There's one thing you will never do is you're never gonna tower the hell over me because I'm gonna rock
Yeah,
you so damn hard that you'll never be able to see the tower again. Like
so
hell no,
rocket.
absolutely
So rocket.
So
no.
rocket.
If y'all know, so so rocket. No, but
But Keeks, you know, you have the actual tea that Cara actually like went into. So I don't know if you want to like get into a little bit because she brought up Paulie out of nowhere, which I thought was weird. But then it goes into a clip of her saying, "Well, I always had your back," right? But that essentially wasn't what she was talking about. It like jump skipped because it was weird. So I don't know if
yeah.
you want to get
So
into.
okay, so while we're in this conversation, right? Because apparently production edited out a lot of things, as we know. We all know that there was apparently a argument right before this major argument already. Um, so apparently during this argument, Laurel had brought up Cara's past abusive trauma and used it against her, was apparently like mimicking her, brought up obviously her past relationships. Not sure what Polly had to do with it, but obviously to us, we didn't know why she was bringing up Polly, but it kind of makes sense um after we find out that she was bringing up her past relationships. And for those that don't know, Laurel and Cara, yes, they did have a friendship in the past, and Laurel was there for Cara when she was going through her abusive relationship. But that friendship has long
Failed.
expired,
Yeah.
and failed. And they were using selective clips, right? Dreadful Ruby. using selective clips, obviously referencing rivals, which, okay, great. Thank you for using a
Had
clip from
nothing to
15
do with
years
it.
ago.
Correct.
You guys have nothing current right now. Yeah, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. And it's just like, what is happening? Oh, and Club Sartorius, you're mentioning Kylan. Kylan apparently said that that clip that he used was referencing the first argument, not this big one. So like they did edit it in that way to obviously have somebody look like they were backing Laurel. But according to everybody else, you could tell that the house was really there for Cara and supporting for Cara,
They
because
were
if you notice, Laurel's by
disgusted.
herself. They were disgusted.
Hmm.
So she must have said something extremely out of line and out of pocket. And listen, I want to be clear about this, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, you guys want the old challenge back, but then you guys don't want the old challenge drama, blah, 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 blah. I'm cool with the drama. But first and foremost, this shit between Laurel and Cara is tired. It's tired.
So
I'm over
tired.
it. I don't even want them on the same season anymore, because if this is what we're going to get, it's not good for either of them.
I
Yeah.
don't
Like
want
how
Laurel
so
on
many,
here. She needs a break. I think Laurel
Yeah,
really needs a
someone
break.
said it earlier. Yeah, someone asked us
yeah,
earlier, do you think Laurel should take a break? Absolutely. I think we've said it in previous
absolutely.
episodes. She needs a few
She
season break.
hasn't changed, because if you really think about it, she said nasty things to Paula back in the day, where she got
Yeah.
personal and deep. She said nasty things to
Big Easy,
Big Easy.
Big
remember?
Easy, where she got personal and deep. It's like it's a
A
trend for her at
trend.
this point, and it's like, if you haven't grown from back then, you need to take some time off and do some growth within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Personally,
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Keeks.
No, and I was just gonna add on to like the more of the backseat stuff. So apparently, because of the fact that Laurel triggered Cara so much with what she said with such vitriol, Cara was apparently removed from the house for a few days to speak to therapy, because she didn't realize like this was something that she like was going to give her, that was going to make her have some that sort of reaction, which I totally understand. Like somebody's like like yelling at you this hard and telling you like all these things about yourself and just airing out your past traumas like that. I can only imagine, especially like with her coming back to the house. Cara always feels like she has the whole house against her for the most part, and she's playing like this solo loner game. Um, so I do understand her having to seek time to herself, to retreat, to really like decompress. But yeah, we obviously didn't see that. We just see that clearly security was involved. They're over here trying to get things to calm down. You see people obviously on the sidelines pretty much appalled by the conversation or the argument and how they're yelling at each other. Honestly, they need to be like on a celebrity death match or whatever, or not a celebrity death match. Like they
Well,
gotta get in the ring or something, because it just feels like y'all are harping all this, and it's just I don't understand. And I'm just very confused as to why Laurel herself was not removed.
yeah,
Because I feel like Laurel deserved to be removed from the house as well. To really like
correct.
because they're
uh
protecting her. I don't know.
right, they're protecting her for
It's
sure.
very
With this edit,
weird.
they are.
So there was also kind of, Cara had mentioned that some of the edits were also related to legal issues on why they couldn't
Right.
air it online. Whatever legal issues she's battling. So some of the edits was related to that. I think my one comment is promoting this season. One of the main storylines they kept highlighting was this big blowout between Cara, Maria, and Laurel. And I'm sure everyone viewing us right now, I know me and my co-host, like we were excited, not excited for this blowout, but we were intrigued to see what was going to happen. And
Like, what
after
exactly
watching
was the point? Yeah.
what went down, what went down. And I don't know about you, Brandon, but when I kind of finished watching that scene, I was just like, that's it. Like, that's what made Cara cry so hard. And I think like
Well,
production
I was
really fails to give the viewers what they need. I understand that you can cut some of it out for legal reasons, but show us the fight that brewed before with Cara and Laurel. Like show us how it actually got initiated. Like show Laurel being Laurel. Like don't cut those like integral parts out.
And that goes back to what we were kind of saying earlier, where we're like, the challengers were active. They were all on social media, like telling the behind the scenes of what actually happened, because we really didn't get the full picture of what happened. But what we did get, we were still like mad at, but we all knew, okay, much more had to have happened.
We were questioning. Yeah,
it was very questionable.
Yeah, and AR, you made a good point. Yeah, if it was Millionaire Mitchell, she would have gotten banned, and she is banned right now, right? For things that she has said, but
blacklisted.
I don't know. Production
or whatever.
picks and choose. Yeah,
they pick and choose for sure who they want to keep around, who they want to obviously protect with the edit, and maybe obviously they were protecting themselves as well, because like who knows, like if she said those names and they're like, don't mention me at all when it comes to this show kind of thing. Yes, a dreadful Ruby, we're not gonna post that because no since it's a spoiler. But yes, if you want to know what Dreadful Ruby said, you could pause the video or just check the comments. But yeah, so and again, like Cara did confirm that some things like can't be legally said or put on TV. But again, it just goes to show like we're going through this cycle with these people, and it's not enticing. Like as a viewer, as a fan of the show, like yes, I love the drama. Yes, I'm okay with the arguments. But if it's gonna come and result to this, like I'm over it. I would have much rather them fight for real. Like I would have much rather them throw hands on some BGC stuff than to see whatever transpired. And it, according to many people, it was very dark. And I don't like the fact that production is trying to angle this, and even Bananas, who apparently was doing an interview, he wasn't even there when the argument happened. Talk about like trying to angle this as like some little sister, big sister thing. And it's like, no, like that relationship is severed. Like it's done with. Let's
and I
be
think
for real.
Cara even said that. She was like, we're both only children. There is no little sister, big sister thing anymore. Like it's not that. That narrative that they're trying to put out there, it's not that. It's just a toxic relationship between two people. And it is what it is.
Like we are both grown adults.
And I was even surprised at Kylan, because I was watching a part of a live earlier, and he was almost defending Laurel in a sense by saying like, some of her actions, not necessarily about the fight, but even like with the whole Emily things, he said, depending on if you like the player, you call it strategic. Otherwise you call it shady. And it's like, no, it's just shady. Like it's not really strategic no matter who's doing it. So I'm like, I am surprised at some of the reactions in the house, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on from that draining ass fight, because honestly, I'm feeling like Emily, like this dark energy looming over.
Should we take a pause? Should we take a pause and meditate, y'all? All of our viewers, please close your eyes.
Please close your eyes. Let's sit here. Let's relax.
Deep breath in, deep breath out. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a lot. But anyway, so let's get into the elimination, please. And it's called Getting Hammered, baby. And I love how Tina was like, yeah, I just did that last night, knowing damn well she was asleep by 9. So okay, Tina. But yes, there are 4 stations, with each station having 2 giant boards with 100 nails nailed into it, and the other one has 100 holes. And the goal is to remove all the nails as fast as you can and hammer the 100 nails to the other side, the other board. And to be quite honest, as soon as I saw this, I said, oh, the CT's winning. He is winning. He
That's
is
what I
literally
thought.
I
he
thought so
literally
too.
does construction for a living. Um and then yeah, that's it. Like if the goal is to put the not the 10 nails, the 100 nails on the other side, that's it. Like CT got this. He does this. He do this. He do this. Um but then so yeah, the first one to do that and hit their button wins. So Kylan ends up choosing Emily and Nehemiah, and Olivia says this is the beginning of era 3 and era 4 working together. I said, oh, is it? It feels like y'all been doing that from jump.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Vacation Alliance activated.
Right. um Vacation Alliance with the Getaway Alliance joining them, all right, or whatever.
Just
But
letting them
yeah,
basically
so
run the game, essentially. Again.
right. Again, thank you so
I'm so
much. Thank you so much for doing that for them. So then Emily and Tina go up first. And apparently, according to Tina, they have to flip a quarter to figure out what board they're gonna get. So Tina comes out the gate swinging, like she is going in. She is tackling, like hammering them nails down, knocking them all down like that. I
I
was
don't even know
Tina.
how she did what she did,
I
to
don't
be
know how she
honest.
did
It was
it, but
just
I'm
like flawless.
screaming for her. Wow. Yeah,
yeah.
she did that.
I was surprised and I was like, oh, Emily is really about to go home, guys. Like, this is crazy.
And she
She was
was so
struggling bad.
flustered. She was flustered. Like she kept looking over and like, yeah, it was bad.
I was like, okay, like this is crazy. You even see production catch Emily like looking at them like in a panic, like
Yeah.
right before they go into the commercial break. But yeah, I was very surprised to see that Tina did so well, and ultimately, like Tina dusted Emily. It's a shock to everybody, and yeah, I mean, how did y'all feel about Emily losing? Listen, I know a lot of y'all are Emily fans, and I will say I've always thought Emily was a good competitor. I just thought she was very boring, guys. I just thought she was boring as hell. I do think that I've gotten to know her personality a lot better with this season, and obviously with what her commentary through social media. So I do appreciate that, and I do like her personality more. But I
Mhm.
was in shock, and I was kind of like gassed, and I said, yes, Tina, like
Oh,
you
I was
ate
so happy.
this champ that everybody hypes up. Not Emily herself, like yes, she thinks highly of herself, of course she's confident in her performance and abilities, but the fandom themselves, y'all really was hyping this lady up, and she failed a circus, a festival fair game or whatever, circus game. They accidentally gave Tina CT's board. Yes, that's what I was thinking too. But hey, who knows? And they ultimately set this up for CT to win, right? Like this was
Yeah.
catered for CT to win. But the fact that Tina came out victorious, that was what a plot
You
twist.
know,
I mean, look good for
listen,
her. Yeah.
victorious is one thing. She destroyed Emily. Like when I tell you, like, how the hell did she get those nails out so fast? Like, I really like, I don't, because CT tried it, Nehemiah tried it, Emily tried it. Nobody could do what Tina did. And funny enough, when I was watching them introduce the elimination, I was actually worried for Tina because I was like, oh, I know she's like a smaller girl. Like, I hope she'll be able to get to the top nails. Like, she won't struggle. But damn, Tina did
I
that.
know she did say like, oh, she does this as a hobby sometimes, so like this is right up her alley.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did really really well. And then when it comes to Emily, Keeks, I agree with you. I think like overall we got to see more of her personality this season, and what I do like about it is that I've seen growth. And that's the one thing I say when I see these players come back, I want to see some type of growth. So I will
Yeah.
give Emily that, and it was surprisingly pleasant to have her on.
You know what, AR? I get it. There were only two women left in era 1, right? I get it. But then, like, I mean, like, what can I do about that? Like, production's gonna production. What can we truly do about it? At the end of the day, it worked out in Tina's favor. And I'm also going to respect what Tina's saying, because Tina has also been fighting back on social media. Because Theo has been also saying that, like, clearly, who was the intern that put the nails on Tina's board because they were so easy. But she was just like, no, stop undermining my abilities and my strength, because you saw
Yeah.
someone that you guys literally consider a legend, a challenge legend in the history of the challenge. You know, she's like on the Mount Rushmore to for a lot of people. When it
Because she's
comes
never
to,
lost. It's because she's
because she's
never
never
lost an
lost an
elimination.
elimination, but she
Well, now
lost
she
it to
did.
Tina. And honestly, I'm
And it is
happy
what
for
it is.
Tina. I'm
Oh, I'm
happy
very
for
happy
Same.
for
Tina.
Tina. I am very happy for Tina. And I think what we need to not do is take away this win from her, because again, like, just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you have all of the skills. Like doing woodwork is a very different skill. Like Emily said it at the beginning, she doesn't do it. Like Tina does. So I don't know. I think Tina deserves the win. I don't think we should take that away from her.
Yeah, this is the same Tina that wouldn't face Melinda, by the way. Hey, that
I mean,
Tina's,
growth,
you know,
growth.
growth.
Yeah.
I get. I guess, like, I'm not screaming like Rig because I like Tina, and like that's just my bias. Like, that's just my bias coming out. I like
I don't
Tina,
think it
so
was
I'm okay.
rigged. I think she had it at an angle where she was able to simultaneously get all the nails out. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
that's just a strategy that none of us know how to do. And Tina does.
Yeah.
So
No, and no,
They
AR, thank
also
you for actually bringing that up, because it is going around, like, and people are commenting and taking away the win from Tina. I just think that, again, like, I feel like Horacio, it just, based on the way it was shown, there was a lot of questions. I think Tina just actually really beasted this. And I just think that now I just don't want it to become a trend where people are like removing the win, especially from Era One, right? Because I
Hmm.
think they have a lot of
Hmm.
experience.
Hmm. And I
exactly.
also just feel like, are we gonna say it's rigged every single time someone that we like leaves? Like,
Hmm.
uh, I
Right.
mean, I get it. Like, yes, this is not the matchup that we necessarily want to see. This is not the best elimination. We know that. I don't think any of us disagree with that. They could have done a much better elimination, especially when you have like such beasts like CT and Emily in elimination. Of course, I'm sure several people wanted it to be more physical or whatever, but I'm convinced that they went into this trying to cater to CT's strengths, and they were surprised that CT also ends up losing. Um, yeah. Well, Tina said she'd be in Home Depot, I guess. I don't know. I really don't
Hmm.
know.
She
Maybe she
said
does some DIY
she
shit
does
at
it as
home.
a hobby. Yeah, that's what she says she does.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, Dabu, like CT, who's done construction, he still lost against Nehemiah. Why didn't he win? Like, yes, granted, it was a closer call. Like, he was like a few nails behind, but he also didn't win either, and he was struggling just as much.
He
Um,
also he was like Emily where he was looking a little frantic, and I feel like Nehemiah was more like methodical in how he was taking all the nails out and putting them back in. He was
mhm.
very cool, calm, and collected, and I feel like CT again was also like looking like Emily was, and it kind of got to his head. But again,
Yep,
that this
and
could have been anyone's game. This was an equalizer
any
game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, I agree. Like, Tina said she pays people to do it, doesn't do it herself. Oh, okay. Listen, I mean, I wouldn't do it either myself. So but I get it. Like, it was definitely very surprising. The outcomes of these eliminations were surprising. We also lose CT, which we
Yeah.
weren't expecting. CT was definitely the MVP of Era One. He was holding it down as much as he could with a lot of things. And he's just a
Hmm.
well-rounded player. But I was very surprised by his performance. I thought he would have dusted the hell out of Nehemiah. And
And
Can
you
I
know
be
Nehemiah
what
kept
that
up.
honest?
means? You know what that means? No more CT Pro Tips. So go, Lena.
Can I be honest? I feel like CT didn't try. I don't know. I didn't feel like he tried that hard, to be honest. I don't know if it was just the way it was edited or, I think he was kind of like, there was no hustle to me.
You think
Yeah.
Just
so?
gonna put that out there. I don't know. That's kind of like the sense I got because, like, I kept even like as I was watching, I was like, "CT, go!" Like, and even Tina was like, "CT, pick it up, pick it up." Like, I don't know. It really didn't seem like he tried as hard as we've seen him try in previous eliminations.
I guess. I
I
mean,
mean,
I
maybe he
just took
missed
it
the
for what it
Stanley.
was. Keeks pro tip. Pro tip, don't do it yourself. Definitely get somebody to do it, pay somebody to do stuff. Yeah. If you can afford it for sure. But yeah, I mean, Nehemiah ends up winning. Shout out to you, Nehemiah, for winning, taking out a challenge champ, a legend in the game. And I hope you're very proud of yourself, regardless of how people feel. You know, um, desperation
That's
ain't there.
true.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
He
true. He
got
don't need the
money. He
moolah
don't
like
need
that.
it.
that's true.
And I'm sure the appearance check was lovely, you know?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I do understand that regard as well. But I do appreciate that with CT and Emily, both of them, they went out with grace, they went out with class. They both
Yeah.
were like, listen, those are the winners, rightfully so. And they
Like
weren't
like
hating
true
about it.
competitors.
Yeah.
Yes, like true
Exactly.
competitors, like the earlier seasons of the show. And yes, like sometimes it's okay for you to be upset if you lose something, but I do like the fact that their reactions to them losing didn't ultimately take away from Nehemiah and Tina's win. Um and I do appreciate like the fact that Nehemiah, for whatever reason, this edit, and I feel like this another podcaster and reporter of the challenge, Alan. He's on Twitter. I don't know if you guys see him, but Alan had pointed this out. It's very weird the way that they were editing Nehemiah's story or history with the challenge. Like, why is it that Nehemiah is kind of like being referenced like, oh, he hasn't been back on the flagship, obviously, in so many years. But why are they not highlighting the fact that Nehemiah's also done very well in the All Stars spin off?
Very,
Season.
very well.
Yeah.
Like he's
That's a
done
good point.
very well. So I just thought it was really interesting because they do reference All Stars for like let's say Laurel and Cara and whoever else, and even Janae. But when it comes to Nehemiah and his story and like his background with the challenge, I feel like they're not highlighting that for whatever reason. And it's like Nehemiah has done so well in All Stars. Like he's performing really well in general. Um, so I thought
I
that
feel
was a
like they
little weird. I
always
didn't want to.
cut. I feel like they always do that to Nehemiah, though. I feel like they never give him his flowers. They also like, I don't know,
They undermine him.
a
They overlook
It's
lot.
weird.
him. It's very, very weird. I never liked it.
Right. So then let's get into these new targets, right? Because Nehemiah and Tina have to choose targets. They end up asking like who can volunteer for era 1, it's Brad and Rachel. Obviously, Rachel's the only other woman. And then Brad volunteers himself. Then we see era 2. Nehemiah feels like there's clearly turmoil within the team. So he's like, Laurel. And Laurel is here shocked. Lady, you literally
I don't know
threw the
why.
challenge for Nehemiah and Emily to go into elimination. Why are you shocked?
I think
The
someone
math
said it
is never
before.
matching with that one.
No, I think someone in the chat said it before. She has such a strong lack of self-awareness. It's crazy, actually.
Like,
Very much.
are we not watching the same show, guys? Like, why would they want to protect you after you pretty much have told them several times, it doesn't matter what you guys think. I'm going to protect whoever the hell I want to protect. I'm going to throw challenges whenever I want to throw challenges. And I'm going to try to send you in if I want you out of the team. Why would anybody want to protect you?
She has a god complex to her, and she thinks she's untouchable, and she thinks, like you said, she could get away with whatever she wants to do.
So that was odd to me. Then we see Bananas. Obviously, Bananas gets chosen by Tina. I wasn't surprised by that. And then we go to the Era 3 targets. Janae says she does not want to nominate herself. And we didn't really touch on this a little bit earlier, but Janae says she had a conversation with CT and she's like, they really want me to put myself out there as a target, but I don't feel comfortable doing that because the whole point is to avoid elimination, which I get. But Janae, you need to be realistic, baby girl, sis. You didn't have a choice.
You're a winner, number one. So act like a winner and know why you have the target on your back. Don't be scared of it. Just go in.
Well,
but you didn't have a choice.
I think what happened was even worse. The fact that you said you didn't want to go in, and then and then Nehemiah selected you. I feel like that was bad. Like,
I choose you, actually, Janae.
Yeah.
Like, either way, you didn't have a say in it. You did not have a say because none of your Era team members were going to nominate themselves. They were all looking at you. In fact, when you were talking, they were over here rolling their eyes. Oh, this girl, really? Like, and it's also, I do understood, I did understand where CT was coming from in that conversation with her. Like, I think you're being selfish. Like, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to be a target. You guys are taking turns being targets. Like, get it out the way when you want to do it. That way, you're setting yourself up, like you're preparing yourself to be that target. And then Corey gets chosen. And then Era 4 targets end up being Josh because he had to own up. He needed to keep his word. He needed to make it up to his team. And then Jenny gets chosen. And Jenny is pissed, rightfully so. But I'm also like wondering, okay, Jenny, what are you doing to build relationships with people in the house? Are you doing anything? Really? And a part of me was also like pissed off at Nehemiah because I'm like, bro, like Nehemiah, like don't play for the Vacation Alliance. But I do understand that he's trying to keep himself safe. If Nehemiah had an issue with the vacay in deliberation, why pick Jenny over Casey? Exactly. Yeah. I do agree with that.
And that's another one that just keeps skating by Casey all the damn time. I don't get it. But I guess it's because she stays out of the drama, which is she stays on the couch.
She's the freaking faux plant in the house. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I do agree with people's like sentiments of like obviously Nehemiah just playing for being Vacation Alliance little pet, like little puppy dog, like just following them and what they want when he obviously could have switched it up on them. I feel like he honestly should have said Casey over Jenny because I feel like Jenny would have his back way more than Casey ever will. And then anything else y'all want to talk about the targets? At this point,
I think it was. Go ahead, please.
No, I was gonna say at this point, I hope that like with Laurel doing what she did, Era 2, y'all better throw the elimination so that she goes in.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm gonna need Era 2 to like put their heads together and kind of just agree with what Nehemiah is saying. She is toxic to your team. Like she doesn't give a crap about any of y'all but herself. Yeah. And Bananas, apparently. But And Jordan, yeah, which I still don't understand. But like do what you gotta do to get this girl out. Because at the end of the day, she's not on your side.
Yeah. Right. Trailer for the daily looks like a lot of running, so I'm thinking Era 3 wins easy. I don't know. Era 4 is pretty up there, so I think they'll be between 3 and 4, depending on if 2 wants to actually.
But I mean, don't count out Era 2 because the girls are all strong and Derek is a runner, so you just never know.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But before we get into like the clip for next week's episode, we finally also get to see the karma votes get brought back and introduced to CT and Emily. And you have CT obviously give Janae like 2 points. He gives Cara 5 because of course he would always give Cara 5. Like that's love there. Who else did he mention? I think he said,
He
did he say
said
Nehemiah?
Jordan. He
Oh,
said Jordan and bananas. He gave like 3, I think, or something
I
like
think he
that.
said two or three. I
Um,
think he said for Jordan, he gave him like 2 or 3 because he didn't piss him off too much this season, which I thought was funny.
yeah.
And
I'm surprised Emily gave Cara like a 2 or 3. I
I
think
think
she
she
was
gave her a
like,
3.
oh,
I think she gave Laurel like
a
what
1.
2, a
No,
1,
she gave
and
her
then
a
she gave
1.
Cara
Yeah.
a 3 because she said like she does see the growth in Cara, but then she also sees like how Cara also uh can bring it upon herself in a way. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, girl. But anyway, yeah, like I was happy that we got to see some of the karma votes. I forgot who else Emily voted for, to be quite honest. Oh, she gave Brad 5, right?
Yeah.
Avi.
Avi.
But
Yawn.
yeah, I was just glad that we saw that back. Because I do want them to at least show that, or at least put it in the after show, or like a little clip that they can play online so that people could see what their votes are. But yeah, I appreciated that. And now we can talk briefly about the little sneak peek preview that we saw, which we see Derek K obviously injure himself. Um, hopefully it's not too bad, but I was like, oh my god, please wrap Era 1 in saran wrap. I don't know, put them in a
Please.
bubble.
Please.
Give them some
Something.
Aleve, give them
Please.
Tylenol, give them everything at this point.
Yeah, no, breaking his foot is crazy though.
I don't get
Is
it. Do
that
they
what happened?
rate
He broke
every
his
player
foot?
or just 5 names? I don't know if he like broke his foot, to be quite honest. I'm not
That's what
entirely sure.
that's what he says in the trailer. He goes, "I think I broke it." I don't
Mm,
know.
mm.
Oh, okay. Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Do they rate every player or just 5 names? I think they rate every player.
They rate
1
every
to
player.
5.
We just only
Yeah.
I'm
see
pretty like a select
whatever
few,
they say.
because I know
That
we
they talk
definitely don't want to
about.
see them rate everybody. But yeah, they rate every player, which makes sense because they don't know ultimately who's gonna get to the end. But that would be interesting if they could only choose 5. That would be interesting. Um, his leg. I don't know why I just think of that. Like my leg from freaking SpongeBob. But yeah, that's it. Anything else y'all want to comment on regarding this episode? It was a long one. This one is a long live, y'all. We've been yapping for a minute.
We've been yapping.
Hope y'all are okay listening to us yap our asses off. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let us know if there's anything y'all want us to discuss, anything y'all want clarification on, any drama that we may have missed while we've been on the live. I don't know. I haven't really been checking. There just seems to be a lot of talking on social media nowadays. So yeah. What was it? Somebody said Eric for money. Michelle's game consists of always checking in on others, which is why she annoyed Laurel and why she's the only one that hasn't felt the fire. Definitely. She need to stop checking in with people that don't want to be checked in on though. Like just let it go. Great live justice for Horacio, still boycotting, still rigged. You do that. You do that. Stand in your truth, AR. Stand in the truth and in the sun with Horacio. So we lost Horacio just for Derek to get injured. Well,
We'll see. We don't
we
know.
shall see. We don't
Is
know if he's completely out
karma
the game, but
is karma playing a role in this?
yeah, I don't know. Oh, that'll be rough. But if we don't have anything else to comment on, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. Leave some comments. If you didn't agree with us, leave those comments too. It's okay. We see them, we read them. Sometimes we might reply. Sometimes y'all say a lot. I don't know what the heck to say back because it's just so damn much. But we definitely do see it. So please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions with us. It's an open floor here, open community. We hope y'all feel that. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season. As for other shows coming up, we know that Survivor just started. And yes, we would love to cover that, but we're trying to fill it out because Brandon and I, we've never really watched Survivor. Lina is the Survivor expert on our pod. So we are going to try to see if how we like it with the next episode and how it goes, and then we'll start reviewing it. If we do, we'll touch on the first few episodes if that's the case. But if there's any shows that you guys would like for us to cover, please comment here, comment on the live, comment in after this video, comment on our social media at Reality Unloaded Podcast on Instagram and Reality Unloaded Pod, or actually vice versa, Reality Unloaded Pod on Instagram, Reality Unloaded Podcast on TikTok, and we'll make sure to check them out. We have a lot of shows coming up. We have the House of Villains, The Circle's back. Yes, Aisha from Rob Has a Podcast is on Survivor, so that's pretty interesting. And there's a couple other podcasters on there. But yes, please let us know what you guys would love for us to review. If there's any like reality shows or pop cultural moments that you guys would like for us to talk about, we're open to it. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope y'all have a good night and a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody, and catch y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.